Okay, well, we're inordinately pleased that we're getting progress here. Um, this is the Blender model being improved little by little. I did a lot of decimation. I went to every object that I could find that seemed to have a complex geometry, and I turned on these statistics. So you have this right there, the statistics thing under this viewport overlays, and you can see how many triangles and faces there are for each of the objects. Like that has 5,514. That one has 12,858. So that one there has 12. And this one here has 12. And this one here has 248. So we might get rid of objects like this. I tried to decimate this fountain and it didn't really work. But we've gone through and decimated just about everything that we can to a factor of about 0.02. So you go to add modifier and you go to decimate and then you scale it. And I scale mine down about 0.02, but of course this one's been already so scaled that ain't gonna work. But we might be able to get even a little more, I mean, you got to really check it against what it looks like as a topology with the terrain. And this was one, and here is as it begins to distort. So maybe I can even get away with 0.5. It moves things around a bit, but I think we can get away with that. And then you've brought your number of triangles down significantly, because you can see it was at 1, it was 5,000. Of course, we brought it down by half, and it doesn't change things. 2,547. So that's good. I'm going to apply that decimation. Then I save it, and as you can see, it's supposed to update automatically here. I'm not sure that it did, so I'm going to just delete this, get it out of the scene. Oops, I should have got out of the scene before that. But I'm going to keep my textures in as I've updated that model, and I'm going to go to the folder that has it in it, and I'm going to drop that Blender file right back in, and wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait as it imports, as it imports, as it imports. So things do take their time, and that's sort of time to look at other things, but there it is, it's in there. So I drag it in, and I don't drag it in the world, because if I drag it in the world, I might not get it centered. So I drag it here in the hierarchy, not in the world. So I drag it in the sorry, drop it down. Now it's centered. And of course the texture's gone, so I got to grab the texture and drop that on. I can drop it there, like that. Now my texture's in. The other thing is, I've got to now, with this terrain selected, which is now the plane cube, right? So not the entire blend file, no, but the terrain plane cube. I've got to set that with a component of collision, because I need a floor in this thing. So I'm going to go to physics and go to mesh collider. And now, let's save it. Now when I go to test the scene in spatial, it shouldn't give me errors like I had before. If you don't put a mesh collider on, it'll say that there's no object for the entrance point to hover over. So there's no solid ground, so the character would fall through space. So you do see here, although I can't really move, you see that now I'm within my 500K limit on mesh vertices, where I was way over. I was at double 5K. I was at a megabyte, so 500 kilobytes. Now I'm way under, a fifth of what is needed. And my unique materials used to be 79, now they're 64, so I've improved that a bit. And I'm only using 3 megabytes of 256 for textures. So you can get some nice textures in. And now when we go to play the game in the sandbox, you will see, if you hang tight, that it should play okay. We will find out in just a moment. So while that's loading, I'm going to go back to my. I'm working on a. Presentation. So I'll keep doing that while we're waiting for the thing to load. And if it loads, still loading. This is pretty big. Then we'll come back to it. So I'm going to make sure I'm doing case studies. I want Vale Encantado in there. So Vale Encantado. This has nothing to do with Blender. I'm just working on several things at the same time. Oh, cool. I have a video on it. That's going to be nice. I'll put that in. Probably show that video. Let's see, are we ready? Let's find out. Let's find out. No, it's still loading. I'll try to refresh it. Sometimes that just helps because maybe the internet slowed down or something. But it loaded last night and it loaded this morning. So there it goes. All right, so we're standing outside the gate and we are able to, we're able to look up and down, which is good. If we run through, we see the water there. None of that has collisions on it. We did improve the, oh, I gotta get rid of whatever that is. We improved the look of the walls and the look of the beds. We need to put more plants in. And we go inside the door, and of course, he falls through the floor. Uh-oh. And he fell through the floor because this didn't have any collision on it. Okay, so glad we tested it. But at least we're better off than we were before. Some of these things all need collisions on them. But it's good, except he falls through stuff. All right. So then you go back into Unity and you pick different objects in here, like this box here. And then you can go down and add component and also put in a collision. So I think we have to again use, we can try a box collider, but the box collider may keep us from even getting into the wall. But we can try. So let's test the scene again with that minor change. Maybe it won't take so long to load. And really, yeah, usually it doesn't take as long to load once you've loaded something. So hang tight and it should go. There we go. All right, so now we have a box collider. You can see here that none of this has colliders, but this building, well, this one doesn't have it. This one has a box collider. So now, unlike the other buildings, like this one here, can't get around there. Help, help. The wall doesn't have a box collider, but there's no colliders on any of these. But there is a collider now on this. So if we can get through the door, and it may be impossible because, yeah, that's what I thought. You can't get in because it's got a box collider. So the whole thing is just a big block that you can not get inside. So you go back to your model and we would change the type of collider in here. So make sure I have it. A type of collider from a box collider, we would change it. So I'm going to get rid of the box collider. Reset. I'm going to get rid of it. Delete. I'm going to delete, remove component. So let's add another component, and we will do mesh collider. And by having the mesh collider on, then when we retest the scene, which you always have to test in Spatial, which is a bit of a pain. You wish you could just test it here in Unity instead of having to go through all this build stuff. This is what eats away at a day. But little changes like that are not so huge. And so hang tight. There he is, and goes through it, goes through it. He still hasn't even loaded yet. It's still loading. But now we can walk through. And we're in the room now. So hooray for that. The books didn't show up with textures. The books are there on the table. They don't have textures. Pillows have lost some textures. And these don't have collision. I don't know if there's worth putting the collision on these or not, but one of course could. And we can walk outside and work on our collisions for other things. The lights at least now have their bit of glow on them. All in all, the model is coming together much better. And so this begs the question and makes you wonder, all right, so if this is working in Spatial, will it work in Roblox without doing each component? Like, how much can we get away with building in Blender? So if I go and open up my Roblox Studio, the only thing I have to worry about is they did not like the Hebrew that we had. So what if, oh, there's an update for Studio. So what if we were to go back into Blender and we were to go into the wall, since we have it in Unity, we don't have to do it anymore in here. If I can even get in there. So again, it's Shift tilde and then W to walk in. If we go back in the building, and what they found objectionable, I'm not sure if it was that plaque or it was this here, but we could change the material for now. We could get rid of that material, except it didn't go anywhere. Huh, how funny. Right. It's still there. Okay, that's weird. Why didn't those materials vanish? Oh, because it's still got a material. It's like there were two of them. Alright. I'm not sure why there's two. But there are. Might be two things here too, but I don't see it. No, it's blank now. Alright, so I can't imagine that that was considered what they got me for. So now if I save this, I don't have to save it because I'm going to export the whole thing as an FBX. And before I do that, I want to make sure that I've selected everything for the FBX, with the exception of the camera and the light, because we're not going to need those. So now if I select everything and I go to File, Export, FBX, and then do Selected Objects and Visible Objects, then do the scale down at 0.01, and export it to my exports, smooth RBX. Just put that there so I know which one it is. I don't need any animations, and I export. When I come into Roblox, there's my Akrich cemetery that I've been working on, but here's the DEM one. And in this, where I was doing experiments, I can now select everything that's in the world in the workspace. And I'm going to get rid of everything except the spawn point. All right, that's the spawn location. So this one here, the DEM copy, it's time to, instead of doing my packages, what we can do is go to import 3D model and now look at our shapefile exports, and we should have an FBX that we just made. There it is for Roblox. And this is big, but it did work in spatial, so I'm thinking, will it work? Yes, it does seem like it's going to work. All the cubes, it does have some problem. The pillows don't have any textures, and the books don't have any textures. We suspected that. So let's just import that and see how long it takes to load up. And wouldn't it be great if it's just going to work so that I can do all the work in Blender? Please work. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? Because working in Roblox is a bit tricky. I like to do all my work in Blender only, and then have everything work out when I bring it into either Spatial. Okay, successfully imported. Haha. Alright. Now it doesn't have the textures, as we knew. It is small though, and so we have to come in and scale it, and I think we tried 6.8 before. And let's see what that looks like. Where's our spawn location? Spawn location, where are you? I don't see the spawn location. Let's zoom to it with F. I don't know, somewhere in the world. When that happens, I just generally delete the spawn location and then go to models, and I put in a new spawn location, and then just drop that by the door where it would be. All right, and then let's try and play it and see if the size works relative to the size of the character. There's our character. Oh, I know what happened, and I know exactly what went wrong. So just as we needed to put collision on the model the last time, we need to anchor everything that we've brought in. So anchor is this little button there. Otherwise it'll fall right through the floor. All right, so there it is. Now, can he get inside? Yes. Okay, good. So these sort of Roblox builds the collision already. But you see the problem here is that he's crawling above the mesh. Now that's easily fixable too. Just as we didn't want to use box collide, we wanted to use a mesh collide. In this model, you have to find the parts that you want to have different types of collision, and this one, if I click on it with Alt-click, this is the plane cube, and we want to make sure that it has a mesh collision, which is not default fidelity, but which is precise convex decomposition. That's critical for that one. And then he should be able to move through it. The other thing is, we remember that the greenhouse looked weird, and that's because it needs to have double-sided, as probably will a lot of things like the walls are probably going to be needing to have double-sided clicked on it. And each thing that sort of looks funny, the buildings, they may need to have double-sided, perhaps. Looking at, no, I don't see double-sided in here. That one. See this building here. So far, no. Double-sided, yeah, so that should have double-sided. And then the material here is plastic. Do we really want plastic, or do we want mud, for example? Will it actually take the mud? Can we change the color to a mud color? And apparently not. Apparently we're going to have to bring textures in from Blender somehow, because it's not letting us do anything with the material. Yeah, it's not doing anything to that, which is a shame. But we'll have to work on that. But at least now collision is such that bang, 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 he's colliding with the walls. And now he's able to go down the hill and then into the room, as we saw before, and then we have textures, and it did remove that, but it kept the other pictures. Okay, that's fair. All right, so little by little, we're getting a playable thing here. We just have to work now on the textures, and it does seem that that particular greenhouse still needs to be made double-sided, because it's not showing up as double-sided, and bang, now that greenhouse looks better. That one, I guess we can change the color. So it depends on what was the models had in them, whether you can change the colors or not. Like here, it's the whole model. I don't want all of that. Yeah, we have a lot of more work to do, but this is pleasing. This is good because this whole model just came in from Blender, and we'll go back to the blend file and we'll finish everything up, knowing that that decimation did work for both Spatial and Blender. Good enough. Till next time, a bientôt.